across like all the channels.
Oh, that's gonna be a thing.
Did it stop?
Oh, hold on. Is it on y'all's side or our side? Who knows? Okay, Daniel, is it us?
I don't know. We're about to find out.
Hello, YouTube and Facebook friends. So we are currently in the process of figuring out our minor technical difficulties, and those are not just the loud noises that you guys are hearing. But I think we've got it figured out.
Are we good? So you guys just have to lower the volume on your phones. That's what I just did. And if you're joining us, yes, we are streaming. This is what we do. Yes, we are streaming experts. So this is a good example of what not to do when you're streaming across all the platforms.
We are so freaking excited to be joined by CeCe and Frank this evening. We are going to be talking all things organizing, and that's a really big deal because it's massively impacted our lives ever since we met Xiomara and Frank. But of course, we are excited to hang out with y'all and answer all of your questions. So make sure that you let us know, A, where are you guys joining from tonight? And what are your organizational questions that we need to get to CeCe? All right. Hello, no dress rehearsal in Davis. Awesome to hang out with y'all.
Chime in from Kansas City and Seattle and Mr. Bill, Utah. And hopefully Olivia's there as well. Retired life Ollie style.
Hey, Rachel.
So good to see you all on here across all the platforms. We're doing things pretty epic tonight.
So how are we doing on sound? Have we figured it out at this point?
I think we're good.
I don't
hear it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We can hear y'all. Y'all are good on our end.
Jameson, hello from Pennsylvania, and the Wads tuning in.
Alex. Okay, across the river, Roaster still says it's full of echo.
If you guys can turn your speakers down on your side, CeCe, the speakers.
So that one's completely off.
The one on the phone is off.
It's down?
Hey, Mary.
Yeah, volume on the phone's completely off. And this one's down. So how
okay.
Wait.
How are we doing? Good.
Are we good?
Hey, Therese, it's so good to see you.
Yeah.
BBC, what up?
Nice. Much better. Okay, that sounds really good.
So
we're not talkers, so we're probably coming across your speakers like we have a megaphone. So cool.
No still echoes. All right. Winning. So then, in that case, let's jump right in because we have got some really, really good stuff to cover today. So y'all already know us. So we're Lauren and Daniel. We're those crazy kids in the Airstream who break things on a regular basis. The real people who y'all are going to be excited to hang out with tonight is going to be Xiomara and Frank. So Xiomara, Frank, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Hi guys, so my name is Xiomara Romero. My husband Frank Romero. We are
empty nesters of 3 grown adults. Active duty military, have been for 21 and a half years, and she's the mastermind behind all the organizing with Lilly's organizing.
And we live full-time in our Airstream, currently in San Diego, California.
About 27.
Okay, sorry guys. We were trying to figure out the sound on our end because we couldn't hear y'all, which is weird. And true story, y'all, we really tested this before we did it. And of course, it only is a thing when we jump online.
So kind of like on a Zoom call, we're going to mute ourselves when you guys are talking. That's the plan. Sound good? So we're going to give you guys the floor, and then you guys talk about, give us a scoop.
Well, they've already introduced themselves. We just missed it. So, like Frank mentioned, he actually is in the service and is going to be retiring in December, which is so exciting. But CeCe and Frank are also full-time streamers. So you can see that their background is very similar to ours, which is awesome. But we met CeCe and Frank through the Instagram. And when we were in San Diego, CeCe helped me actually find a campground that we could stay at that we would love. And when we started having that conversation, we were like, well, we really should meet up and go to lunch. And at that point, there was no plan to completely gut and reorganize our Airstream. But when we got to lunch with CeCe and Frank, it was very quickly evident that Xiomara is a crazy expert at what she does as a professional organizer. And she just started blowing my mind about the big picture around why organization matters. And what totally got me was when she started talking about how the organization of your home actually impacts the relationships of the people that you live with. So, CeCe, talk to me a little bit about that. Share that with everybody so we can get a foundation of why this stuff is so important.
Now we're not muted.
Oh, now you can hear me. So we think the echo is on my end?
Well, being the audio expert that I am, obviously, I, of course, have no clue. So I am doing some investigation over here.
How are we going to do that?
Yeah. So
maybe if let's see.
You can talk.
How about this?
Yeah.
Why don't we mute ourselves and then Daniel will try to figure it out while you tell us about how organization impacts your relationship with people you live with.
Surface, right? Like, why do you move this? Or we start playing the shaming game, right? Like, oh, well, you shouldn't bought this, or where's my keys, or stuff like that. Or the woman,
you kicked me out of my closet.
Or typically us women tend to take our spouse's boyfriend space. And other cases that I see is moms that, because their stuff don't fit in their room, they start putting it in their kids' room. And then they get mad at the kids because the kids don't keep up with their space. But you gave them a space for a reason. So why, if they're not allowed to invade your space and put their stuff in your space, why are you putting your stuff in their space? It's kind of like a misleading there, how would you say that? Double standard, right? So it does affect, and it's a subject that we don't talk about. We try to keep it in the down low, but it does affect a lot when we don't respect each other's spaces, and it brings a lot of chaos in the family.
So y'all know I obviously wasn't doing that to Daniel. I definitely was not guilty of that. Yes, 100%. And as soon as Xiomara started talking about it, I was like, oh man.
I mean, I think that's typical probably in most households where I knew going to the Airstream life that I was probably going to have to figure out how to condense all of my clothes to fit in a shoebox. And I accepted that challenge when we were moving into the Airstream. But,
But it got worse when we moved in. And I think I try to be really
did.
cognizant, and I consider myself a pretty organized person. But when Xiomara started talking like that, I was like, guilty as charged. We probably should look at this. And so that was why I was like, I told Xiomara, I was like, I don't care what it costs. Like, we have stupid arguments about this kind of stuff all the time. If you think organization can fix this, I am all in. And so that's how we got the genius idea that we would reorganize the Airstream. But Xiomara, what Airstream model are y'all in?
We are in a Flying Cloud 27 front bed, 2019.
So you guys are already Airstreamers. Talk to us about how long you have been in your Airstream and what you've done to organize your space.
So we have been living in ours for 2 years, now in a week. Yeah, we've been living in ours for 2 years. And believe it or not, when we first moved in, the first things that we did is we brought the containers that we already had because we wanted to repurpose what we already have. So we waited a little bit to kind of get used to the new space because living in an RV is completely different than living in a home. And before we decided to like go and spend the money in containers that will actually work, we waited a little bit and started going little by little. I think the first thing that we did was our room, and then we went from there.
Kind of get a feel for where you can fit where. Then we went ahead and threw all her stuff out and just moved my stuff in. And it worked ever since. It's been working great. No.
First, we have so CeCe and Frank, I don't think I told you guys about this. So on Instagram, you got badges. On YouTube, we have super chats. And when somebody leaves us a super chat, we give them a super awesome shout out. So Lorianne, thank you so much for your super chat.
Yes.
Woo woo.
And when you do this, you also have the floor as well. So when you want to ask questions, like Lorianne, if you have a question, throw it out there.
So Lorianne says the fridge struggles are real.
Oh,
and
gosh.
if you've seen our video where Xiomara redoes our fridge, I basically have the most beautiful fridge you've ever seen in the history of mankind now. So Xiomara, talk to us about fridge organization.
Wow. So people don't realize how much money, if I had to say where the money goes the most in the house and the most waste, it's on the refrigerator. And it's because we don't take the time to refrigerator. So we just go to the supermarket or Costco and buy this extra stuff they don't have at home and just go ahead and shove it in the fridge, which is a big mistake because you cannot see or find what you're looking for and you waste a lot of food that way.
A lot of stuff will expire. You don't realize it expired. It's hiding in the back. Like, do I have this? I don't know. So you just go and buy more while you're out. But don't clean out before you actually go grocery shopping. Key trick is clean out your fridge. Make sure it's emptied out, cleaned out for all the new stuff you're going to go buy.
Yeah, and that was very true.
Very important.
Yeah, that was very true with us, right? We had like 500 rolls of toilet paper.
Well, thank God that wasn't in the fridge.
No, but you accumulate stuff and you don't necessarily know if you have like doubles or triples or like quadruples of anything, especially food.
Well, and one of the things that I asked Xiomara about. Oh, go ahead.
So, and some people think that because you have a small fridge and you live in an Airstream, a lot of people go in this lifestyle thinking, oh, we're going to have less space, so this is not going to happen. It does still happen if you don't create these new habits that, you know, actually got to make the time and the effort to like go through your stuff, especially the fridge.
Totally. And one of the things that I asked Xiomara as soon as she had come in and like surveyed our space and kind of looked at what was going on, we laughed and said, of course, Daniel's biggest like hoarder item is his running stuff. He's got an obnoxious amount of shoes, like all the workout gear. Like this was a thing. But I'm like, Xiomara, I don't have anything like that, right? Like there's nothing that I hoard in the Airstream. And she was like, honey, it's your pantry. I'm like, what? I don't think that's real. But she's so right, it was. And since we have organized our refrigerator and pantry, I'm literally saving probably a minimum of $200 a month, just not over buying stuff at the grocery store, which basically pays for organization itself over just a series of months. So that's amazing.
So CeCe, we've got a ton of questions about those sloped containers. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
What did he say? What was the question?
Say that again. Oh, the sloped containers.
The slope containers?
Yes, the ones that you put up here and on the in his that are.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel's gonna grab one to show you.
So those containers, especially for the Airstream, are my favorite containers. Because they are so perfect for these compartments over the head compartments, regardless if you use it in the office area, in the bedroom area,
Or the kitchen.
or the kitchen. I don't think, it depends on the Airstream, they may not fit in the kitchen because it may be too long. And the reason for that is because these compartments up here, they're a little curve on the back. So that one you can actually put it either side and yours. And they're very inexpensive. $350 and $750 depends on the color you buy.
PVC, shout out for the super chat. Woohoo! Thank you, sir. We want to send you a question. Let us know. But yes, we love those containers. And in fact, we actually got those for our office space. Mm-hmm. And we set up all of our tech and gear with Amazon containers that I already had, which I think is one of the most amazing things that CeCe does. And she mentioned that she did this with her house, that she started with the containers that she had. And I think that that's a really important thing because you want to create systems that work for the stuff you already have versus focusing on it being container focused. But now that we've had those slope containers, we have actually ordered more slope containers to trade out the ones for our tech gear.
Yeah, so we started, of course, with the stuff we had, but now we're, after we've been living in the space, we're just like, those are kind of garbage. So we want to get rid of them and get like stuff that you guys picked out for us with the other cabinets. Because we realized the stuff we had wasn't tall enough.
Yeah.
And we had like, things like falling from one bin to the other. That's why the bins you guys picked out were so perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
So true.
Yeah.
Okay, what were some of the other questions, Daniel? I know you've been watching them.
Yeah, so the other question is, let's see, I'll let you look. But Frank, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck wood?
There was a lot of wood chucking a lot of wood that day.
Okay, so Bill Utah asks, Xiomara, have you had any experience with organizing other RVs, and what makes an Airstream like easier or more difficult?
Yes, I have organized A-Class is the ones you drive, right? The
which one, the van or the
van? The van.
The van is the B-Class.
Yes.
So the van. Oh, we did another Airstream.
Well, yeah. So the thing is, with RVs, it's just like in the home, right? Nothing is more complicated or less complicated. It's all about the items that this family has in the space, right? So it could take a few days or it can take a few months. It all depends, because believe it or not, even though the RVs are smaller, you'd be surprised of how many things you can actually put in an RV.
And if you saw our video where we pulled everything out, like we really thought we were pretty minimalist before we got started in pulling everything out. You really do accumulate a ton of stuff, even in a small space.
Well, that's really the kicker, right? I mean, we were traveling the world and living out of 2 suitcases, and we had everything in that. And then we move into an RV, and you just like grow into the space. And then, of course, everybody gives you recommendations on, RV gear you need, because, of course, there's a lot of things that don't come with it. So then you start, like, adding more stuff. You're like, oh, I need some Anderson levelers and a Level Mate Pro and, like, all of the gear. The next thing you know, you're like, where how are all my cabinets full?
I don't know if it's in Larry's side or if it's in Instagram.
Yeah, okay, yo lo vean.
Hi guys. Sorry, I'm over here reading at the comments in Instagram.
Okay, for some reason, Jameson says he can't hear us. Can y'all hear us?
Everybody else
I
can
can hear you.
Jameson can hear us. Should be good to go. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
They
This
say
is,
it's only the echo is only in your side.
Got it. Do you guys have the speakers down over there, like on your phone? Is your phone speakers
Yeah,
all the way down?
we turned off the volume in the phone, and we're only going off the laptop.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. And then we've got our volume down on our laptop as well. There we go. Okay. Cool. Wiz, Kyle, thank you. You're hearing us just fine. Rachel, Richard, I can hear us fine.
Anymore.
Oh, they said it echoes when Wonder Local speaks on the Instagram. So I don't know what about it.
You focus on that. I think I've got a plan.
Trying to figure it out. All right. So anyway, let's see. Oh, yay, Richard. Thanks. We really enjoyed Park City. We love Utah. That place is so beautiful. We can spend tons of time there. So, CeCe, when you look at, let's use, of course, the RV as an example. Talk to us about what is the very first space that you suggest anybody look at when they want to get their home really organized?
You know, that's a very good question, because a lot of people, when they get to the point that they're like so frustrated with the disorganization on the clutter, they tend to attack anything but the most important thing, which should be the bedroom. And the reason for that is, at the end of the day, you want to have a safe haven that you can come to and rest, right? So, for example, if you have a family that are moving into a house, they want to tackle the kitchen first and the kids' bedrooms first, but the rooms should be always first. Because if you're not taking care of you, how can you take care of the rest, right? So you want to make sure that when you go to sleep, you have no clutter, you don't wake up with no clutter, you be so. And then if your bedroom is square away, then you go to the area that is the most stress.
Okay, did you say if your bedroom is like far away, did you say go to the area that stresses you out the most?
Yeah, if your bedroom is square away and there's no clutter in the room, then you should tackle the area that brings you the most stress.
Okay, so as someone who probably internalizes a lot of stress, what are common things that you see your clients like exhibit, or behaviors that you see them do when they go into a room that stresses them out?
A lot of times if it has to do with it, should do it, they don't even want to look at it.
Okay.
They'll point at it and say, in there, and they'll walk away. I'm like, oh, so that's the spot.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So Kyle asks a really good question too. He says, what have you found is the most common organizational mistake that people make?
Oh.
What have you found is the most common organizational mistake that people make?
Hold on. I think we're having technical difficulties. Somebody froze up.
I don't think if we
on both of them.
I don't know if we should like.
We can still see y'all. Can y'all see us?
Yeah, I can see you.
You're not moving. You're just frozen.
I'm making funny faces at you if you can't see
They
it.
say a moment. So, what do you think if we just get off Instagram, because they're saying this is very common when you're using both platforms?
I mean, I think that sounds like probably a pretty good plan. So, Instagram friends, since we're having some audio issues, we would absolutely love for y'all to continue to join us. We're going to go ahead and jump over into Facebook or YouTube, whichever platform works best for y'all, so that we can try to make sure that you can hear CeCe work perfectly. So, jump on another platform, and we'll try to figure this out for the future. Love y'all. All right, so let's see. Now that we have turned that off, how's the sound doing on y'all's side here? Good, 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 good.
Everybody hearing us okay?
Okay, okay. Well, it looks like we lost Xiomara and... Oh, hold on. I'm adding them back in real quick. Okay. Hello.
Can you guys hear us okay? Okay, so we can...
I don't...
Okay, so they said they can see us loud and clear. I think that we might be having internet issues on y'all's side. Yep, it's definitely on their side. We're here. Okay, well, we'll entertain you because we've got lots of thoughts about organizations since they've gone through. Oh, I think maybe they're coming back in. Oh, no.
We lost them.
Okay, it's definitely their internet. So, Daniel, will you text them and try to figure out what's going on there?
I'm on it. Hey.
So, we learned so many crazy things about organization from CeCe. And of course, if y'all watched the video, you've seen tons of them. But if y'all can give me some of your questions, I am happy to share with y'all what we've learned. I think probably the biggest things that have happened for us since then, because it's been a little over a month and a half, is that we've learned that her containers are way better than ours. So we're going to be updating some of those, which we're excited about. Okay, Xiomara, Frank, I see you. Maybe, maybe not. No, you know, that's the funny thing about YouTube Live. We got on a call with Xiomara and Frank on Thursday this week, and we like double and triple checked everything, and it was all working awesome. And now apparently it doesn't like us very much. Okay, so about you are here asked about overall downsizing. So I can tell you a lot about that because that started for us way before we ever moved into the Airstream. So Daniel and I in, let's see, January of 2019 sold almost everything that we owned to travel full time. And before we did that, for those first 6 months prior to that, we spent a lot of time really looking at our stuff. If you are interested in downsizing, I would highly recommend the documentary, The Minimalist. It's on Netflix, and it like inspired the crap out of us to get rid of a lot of stuff. But you don't want to do it all at one time because that can be really overwhelming. At least it was for me. So to minimalize our stuff, what we did is we started by first the kitchen. Because the kitchen for me was that one place like CeCe talked about that stressed me out. And it was probably because I had like 600 million items of one thing. Like no one person really needs like 3 juicers and 4 cheese shredders and the whole 9. So what I did is I started first by removing all of my duplicates and downsizing only to my favorite ones. And that was awesome. And as soon as I started doing that, I realized that every single thing that we owned a little piece of us. And so that's when minimalizing got really addictive for us.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, you start with just a handful of things, and next thing you know, you're just purging more and more and more. Until finally, honestly, we were sitting in a house, and there was a couch, a TV, and a bed, and not much else. And we were looking around thinking to ourselves, well, whenever we travel, the house is still here, and we still have to pay for all of that stuff. So why even keep it?
Yeah. Yeah. So real. Okay, Xiomara and Frank, I see you. We see you. Can you see us? Are you moving?
Tell them we can't hear a word they're saying.
Oh, no.
You can't hear us? Frank, did you just agree to growing a mullet? I think I just is that right? Frank,
You're
Bullet.
sounding worse than
Fine here.
robots getting beat.
I think you did just say that you were going to grow a mullet, and that is awesome.
Okay, so here, will you grab my phone and text
Sound like a
me?
couple of robots that are drowning.
What's that?
Tell them to try another internet connection on their side.
I wish I could help you. I don't know CPR.
Another thing that we did after we got obsessed with the kitchen is I love what PVC just said, that they've got 40 years of stuff that they don't want to get rid of. I think everyone has stuff that they look at in their closet and they're like, oh, but when I lose 20 pounds, I could wear these jeans and I would love them and look great in them and they would make me happy. Well, that's a great thought process and we all do it. But what I started doing is if there was something in my closet that I hadn't used for more than like 6 months like that, is I started folding them up and I put a bin in our guest bathroom and I would put those things in that bin and I'd put it away so I couldn't see it. And then in 6 months, I just stick it on my calendar. If I hadn't used anything in the box in the guest bathroom, then I just simply took it to Goodwill and called it a day and found that all the stress that I was like internally putting on myself about those things wasn't really all that real. So we've done a lot of minimizing. And I mean, it's one of the things about organizing or minimizing your life and your stuff is that it's a journey. It's really hard not to be hard on yourself when you're going through that journey. But if you remember, like there's no end destination with organizing or minimalism, then it turns out a lot better anyway. Okay, so Jared asks, any tips or advice for organizing your exterior hookup items like electrical cords, water hoses, camp chairs, etc.? Okay, Daniel is a genius at this.
Why, yes, actually, that's a very good question. One of my biggest pro tips here is that I keep all of I have seen like sewer hoses in the back bumper, and then I'll also see like X-Chocks like literally right next to them, and kind of a little bit germaphobe.
Yeah,
So it makes me want to like, right? So I have a dirty bin in the back of the truck, and then I have a clean bin. And the dirty bin in the back of the truck is where I keep my sewer hose, Magnum PIG, which is our little like sewer pig. I keep all of the sewer wrenches and all the sewer related gear in that one dirty bin. And then I've got my clean bin as well with my fresh hose, my inline filter, and all of that gear as well. So that's one of my pro tips.
And also on that note, we have a video coming out next Sunday that is about the organization of our truck, which is where you'll see a lot of that. So you'll get the full scoop very, very soon. Okay, Xiomara, Frank, can you hear us this time?
I think it's our Wi-Fi.
If you're asking if no.
Okay, so we will hope that we can get that taken care of in just a minute. Let's see. Susan says, I have stuff from my parents' house that I'm having trouble getting rid of. I wish that CeCe could hear you and us right now because she has got some serious tips. She's done exactly that. We actually talked about that when we went to dinner in San Diego. Xiomara, did you hear that question?
Can you hear?
We heard San Diego.
So you know what?
Okay.
How about maybe if you guys mute each other? I don't know if we can ask them if they can hear me, because I can answer some of the questions that are here.
Yes.
Ooh.
So we can hear you now.
Love the questions in the chat, and we'll answer.
Yeah. Like, okay, so right now, okay, let me go back. Any tips or advice for organizing your stereo hookup items, electrical, water hose, camp chairs, etc.? So the straps are good for the cords, remember?
Yep. So all the straps, all the cords that we have, electrical extensions, are 50 amp cord, which is a lot heavier, everybody knows, than the 30 amp. Stuff like that. We use these Velcro straps. They're actually pretty awesome for all electrical cords. And he can probably tell you this also, because I'm sure he's used it on a bunch. It looks similar to something like these. Obviously, for the 50-foot cord and the extension cords, we get bigger ones. And then most of that stuff, we'll put it in like little totes, segregated as such. Yes, even the camping chairs, they fold up and they'll go in its own tote in the back of the truck.
Wow.
What else was there?
That's good advice. We actually put our chairs in the back of the Airstream. So since we're a 30-foot, we have storage underneath the bed. And we've started putting our chairs back there since we did our organizational thing. And we love being able to pull the stuff out for like our patio area there. So there's tons of ways to do it. At the end of the day, I think one of the things that CeCe taught me that I love the most is that it's all about building a system that works for how you function. So real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
we just heard all of that.
You did? You can hear us?
Yay!
You guys can hear us?
Uh,
That's fantastic. You guys can hear us now?
so I have here Suzanne Brandon as I had this stuff from my parents' house that I'm having trouble getting rid of. When it comes to stuff that we inherit or stuff, from our parents, I always say it's good to get help. It's better to get help because it's very hard because all the emotions gets involved, and take your time. If they're already there, it's okay. Take your time, give yourself some grace. But it's better if you get somebody involved. They don't have no feelings attached to this stuff.
Right.
My wife
makes
has
perfect
3
sense.
full closets. Oh, this is good for you. My wife has 3 full closets full of clothes, and one night cleaned them out. Believe it or not, that used to be me. I used to have not 3 but 4 closets to my name. However, they were tidy, but I had if it had room, I will find a space for it.
I still have nightmares to this day because of this.
Yeah. So, and into that, I would say a lot of people want to just go into their spouse's space and start doing it for them or start putting that pressure. That's a big mistake. You should not do this stuff for them. Once again, try to get an outsider, even if it's just a coaching.
Or guilt them into it, because that's
No.
also very bad.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah. The emotional stuff, I just threw out entire closet with the clothes and wear again.
That can be the hard part. I mean, I think I'm kind of like the sentimental one, so I'll collect little things over the years and journeys, and I make sure that they all fit in one bin. So I keep that one bin at my parents' house, and it has just like all of the things like from our first date and all of the little things like that.
Susan is asking if I'm going to be in El Paso, Texas. Well, the plan is to be able to go all over the United States. So I encourage people to follow my page on Instagram because that is where I'm going to be announcing, hopefully a month or 2 months in advance, where we're going to be next. And the space is going to be limited, so pay attention. Fill your application and get your free consultation.
Yeah, I feel like the secret's out now. Now that everybody's seen you work your magic, it's. I mean, it was mind blowing when we got to see it, firsthand. So
Totally. Okay.
Absolutely mind blowing.
Joe asks what we're drinking on. CeCe, Frank, are y'all still drinking sangria over there?
Yes, we have sangria.
She's got sangria. I got a little Crown Royal Apple and Sprite.
Nice, very classy. So I'm actually drinking a probiotic drink this evening that has no booze in it whatsoever. Daniel and I went for our first long run for our training for the Chicago Marathon this morning.
Yes.
And we only have 2 months, 8 days, and like some odd hours before we have to run it.
Needless to say, we had a few drinks last night, and the run today was a little not perfect. So
we're going to lay off the booze for the next 2 months to make sure we can.
Otherwise, there's going to be a whole lot of suffering, like 26.2 miles of suffering if we don't so slow our roll. Susan, Lily, tell them your Instagram page.
It's Lily's Organizing.
Yes.
I'll put it in the comments too, right here.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one. That's for you, CeCe.
Okay.
How to keep things organized and minimal when your husband loves shopping.
Once again, I don't know if they were here at the beginning. So what I like to do in situations like this, imagine that you're dating your spouse, right? And let's say we created this space in the kitchen, in the garage, in the bathroom, believe it or not, in the room. If your significant other is a messy person, as long as they're keeping their stuff in their space, let it be. Right? So they keep your stuff in your space, because it's like everything, just because you decided to be more minimal doesn't mean that your spouse or significant other also wants to do the same thing. The best tip I can give is lead by example. So if you keep your space tidy, maybe with time and minimal, maybe they will get encouraged to do the same.
That's good. Yeah. And I will say that
I am the shopper, especially for tools. So I have a big thing about I need more tools. In Airstream, I don't have a whole lot of space, and then the back of my truck, I'm already taking it up a lot with tools. So the one thing that comes in mind is I try not to buy anything that I already have unless I'm replacing it with something new. So eventually you're going to run out of space, right? No matter how much you want to go out shopping, stuff like that, you're going to run out of space. So now you got to think of, okay, am I buying this? Is there a specific purpose for it that it's going to be used for? And where am I going to put it? So eventually that'll start coming to mind. Like, okay, if I don't have a home for it, then I'm not going to buy it unless I'm replacing what I already have to make room for it.
Yeah.
I would say one of my favorite things about what we did with you guys is when it'd be one thing if Lauren and I were doing the organizing, right? But the fact that you guys were there and we emptied everything out and got to see it out on tables, man, there's like some like guilt and like you feel like there's some like accountability there too, because you guys are looking at it like, damn, they have a lot of stuff, and we're just like, damn, we do. Like, we probably need to purge some of this stuff.
Well, and also, like Rachel says here, I feel like Xiomara could moonlight as a marriage counselor. Like, truth. But it's so interesting how much the stuff in your space and where you live really impacts the conversations that you have with your partner. Like, Daniel and I think if you watch the video, some of it was edited out, but I talked about how much I freaking hated that obnoxious cord bundle, because Daniel has more cord than, I don't even know if we have enough electronics. It's almost like we have gotten, Daniel's good about replacing his electronics. That's what he likes to shop for. But he doesn't seem to actually let go of a cord when he replaces it. He just keeps all the cords. And so when we moved into the Airstream, he was like, oh, I'm going to organize those cords. But since I'm really busy right now, I'm going to use your cool kombucha kitchen bag and stick all of these cords in there. And it even had a zipper on the top of it. And I really liked this stupid kombucha like freezer bag.
Right. But I just feel like it had a zipper so I could zip it closed and out of sight, out of mind. Like, don't worry about that bag. You don't look inside.
But what happened like a couple months in is it got more cords.
Well, I buy more tech. Just kind of like, Frank buys more tools. I buy more like, audio video gear, just kind of like got to keep adding to it.
So the cord bundle had gotten so big that it ended up breaking my kombucha bag. And so all the cords in the house, like Daniel would just let them migrate there. So when I couldn't find my cell phone charger cord or my watch charger cord
bag,
I'd have to go look in that damn cord bag, and it would lead to like the most conversations. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to. I've looked at that bag now for 10 months. Like, why is it not organized? You said you were going to do it. And so we were able to come in and like dump that thing out.
Yeah.
And we were both there and
it
was like, oh my gosh, first of all, the fact that we've been having these stupid conversations about this cord bag now for the last 10 months.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
So clearly, that one got to her, the cords, for sure, right?
But even though that's so
hit a nerve.
stupid thing, but it's a stuff thing that impacts a relationship that is like totally worth nothing in the big picture of life or your relationship, but those tiny little conversations really add up to nothing positive.
Hey, if cords is the worst part of your day, then life is pretty good.
Well, but the thing about it is with being organized, you can just eliminate that, and there's so many conversations like that you have as a couple, and like they can be simply solved by very simple organizational things. Because CeCe literally just found us a little container. You went through the cords, we like wrapped them up, and now it works freaking great. And we have not had a conversation about that in months, and it's wonderful.
That's true.
Yeah, but it's funny how something that seems so simple can become so complicated, especially when you're constantly telling the other person about it, which is a big mistake, right? It's easier to just let it be, and believe it or not, they will take care of it at their own time. But they will take care of it. But then, that's how in houses or even in business, that's how things end up. Luckily for you guys, it was just a bag, but sometimes end up to be the whole garage or a whole closet, for those procrastinated decisions to go through your stuff.
Well, I think it's probably amplified when you're living in such a small space too. Totally. I mean, it's like in a house you can sort of almost hide stuff, but
and the furniture too.
Right. Well, yeah.
Everything has its limits. Even the house with a huge 6-bedroom 4-car garage house, it'll reach its limit eventually, and then everyone has a breaking point, and then unfortunately, it happens.
I mean, you must have run across some hoarders out there, no doubt, right? I mean, like there are gonna be some jobs that you show up to, and you're just like, damn, I need to charge double, like.
No, as an organizer, this is my passion. This is what I love to do.
Yeah.
What people don't know is all of us organizers have different niche, right? Yeah. So if I ever go to a consultation and I feel like, okay, this is not my specialty, I have like other organizers that I can refer them to. They're specialized with ADHD, with hoarding, with tendencies of hoarding, right? Because then you have hoarders and then you have the children. So they're not necessarily hoarders, but that's just the way they were brought up. Mm-hmm. Or people that are going through grieving, or people that have any kind of life transition. Not all of us organizers do it all, and that's what a lot of people don't know.
Well, CeCe, that brings up a really good point, because you and I talked about this. So growing up in a Southern home, I talked to my mom after she did this, and she was like, I didn't even really know that professional organizers were a thing. Like, how did you get into this profession, and like how did it come to be?
So, all of us have a skill, right? That to us comes very natural. But sometimes we don't even pay attention about that skill because we get so used to people telling us, oh, you're good at cooking, or you're good at this, or you're good at that, right? But since I remember, I have always been very organized and tidy. Family and friends used to make fun of me. Sometimes they thought I had OCD, which I don't. I don't.
I mean,
yeah, no.
It's not diagnosed. If it's not diagnosed, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
So, but what people also don't know is like, yes, anybody can say, oh, I'm an organizer, or I want to become an organizer. And by law, you don't need anything really. But I'm part of an association. It's called NAPO, National Association for Professional Organizers. I'm also part of Inspire Organizer. I took courses there. So I have credentials and education on being an organizer. So when I finally decided to say, I knew that when we became empty nesters, I wanted to have my own business. So I started to educating myself when we were in Connecticut and in Guam 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I got
6.
Yeah, like 6. Yeah. So I opened the business 3 years ago, but I've been like doing all my sessions and stuff. Yeah. So if anybody out there feel like they would like to be an organizer, I recommend going through NAPO.
Okay.
So a little background too, right? So, I have 21 and a half years in the Navy. We've moved
14 times.
14 different times. And not just us, right? We also have our friends, our fellow right, shipmates, sailors, and stuff like that that are also moving, that would also ask for help, and she's always right then and there. We would literally move from one place to another, have it set, the new place, have it set up in like 3 days. I'm talking packed, boxes unpacked, gone, bed set up, everything in its place. Like, people will come over and think we've been there already for months, and we've literally just moved in like 3 days ago, because of the mastermind here. It's just already had it all set up in a row. So it's always been something that she's always done. It's natural for her.
I love it. And I mean, I think anybody who saw the video can see that, it makes sense that you just have a natural talent for that. Or for this. Okay, so Rachel says, can you give us some insights into your daily routines to keep an organized space organized for the long term?
So, for example, like on Sundays, it's a great day to, if your house is already organized and you want to keep this in the long term, on Sundays, it's a great day to do what I like to call a reset, right? A lot of times we feel like we have to be doing everything every single day, and that's a big mistake because it's not enough hours in the day. But like me, I have little notebooks. I love my notebooks. I'm a believer that if you write things down, it will actually stick. And I'm constantly doing my to-do list, his to-do list. And on Sundays, every morning, you should sit down and write down like what you want to do today instead of trying to do it all the time.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, then, CeCe, you also talked to us about, like, from a standpoint of utilizing your calendar to ensure, like you said, it's writing it down. But for us, we live and breathe off of our Google calendars. So we talked about how, like, once you go through a massive organizational reorganization, like what we did with the Airstream, that you want to put it in your calendar for like 6 months from now to, revisit what are the things that are working, what's not. Like those pair of shoes that I didn't want to get rid of.
Are you using them, or?
Actually, I've worn them like 3 or 4 times now. Not really enough to like constitute keeping them, I don't think, at this point. But because I mean, walking in platform shoes in a campground is just like
true. But you know who is using their foot attire? This guy has been rocking the cowboy boots since that episode. When I told you I wear it every day, I clearly did not, but now I've been rocking it a lot. So I just want to say thank you, because now I'm rocking cowboy boots.
Well, I haven't seen pictures.
And you got it on video?
Do I?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I do, actually.
If you go watch the Paso Robles video, you will see Daniel's cowboy boots.
That was for you. That was for you guys. Like, literally.
Right. Yes, I remember.
When I jumped out of the truck in my cowboy boots, I was inspired by our conversation about how I never wear them.
But that was another example of something that CeCe told us to go ahead and like write down in our calendar for 3 months or 6 months, whatever you feel comfortable with, to look back and say, have I worn this pair of shoes? Do I actually need them, or should I send them to Goodwill so they can have a new home with someone who will love and actually use them? Because
like for example, when it comes to your personal items, right? Like, let's say I recommend every 3 months, but you didn't do it. A good way to do it is on your birthday. A week before your birthday, go through your clothes and your shoes. And usually people love to give you stuff. So, right, you can tell them, okay, well, I need more shoes, or I need this, or I need that. So for your personal item, it's good to do it on your birthday, put in the calendar. As a couple, if you guys got things that belong to both of you guys, the how you call it, anniversary, right? So like on the anniversary, it's better to do it like a week before the anniversary, a week before your birthday, because you don't want to be going through your stuff on your birthday or any kind of special occasion. But a week before, right, like when the holidays come, a good time to start going through your holiday items is October, not in November, not in December. At that point, yes, you can still do it, but you're already going to have a lot going on.
Right. I honestly have purging on the mind more now than I probably did before we did this organizational video. So now, because I know that there are things that I'm not using daily, I'm like, if I have something that's sitting around, I know it's going to end up getting purged. I will now sometimes, and this is probably another tip as well, like I will throw it up in like Facebook Marketplace or like eBay or something like that, and I just let it sit, and then somebody will just buy it, and I'll just kind of like price it to sell. And it's just it's a way of me getting rid of some things that I already know I'm going to get rid of anyways. come purge day. So literally it takes me 2 minutes to snap a picture. I throw it up on Facebook Marketplace, and a lot of times it's gone, which is kind of cool.
And that's a good way to say that. Organizing is not a destination, it's a practice. So the more you practice it, the more actually you're going to start feeling better about your space and about you. So it's a good feeling going through your stuff all the time.
It is, yeah.
Well, and also something you just touched on that really has been a game changer for me that you taught us, Xiomara, is that if it's not daily use items should be at eye level, especially in your RV where you've got like a lot of eye level space. And that's been something that we've really been thinking about when we're utilizing our stuff now. What are the things that we really use on a day-to-day basis? And if we don't use them daily, then they probably shouldn't be in our top level cabinets because that's our easiest access points. And when you've got an easy access point, not only are you more willing or more likely to pull it out, you're more likely to put it back. And that's really the key in small spaces, right? It's so critical that you're putting things back because otherwise you're living in a jumbled mess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And also another thing become addicted to. Huh?
No, and the whole point, like to us, to live this way is to be able to spend less time inside the house and go out there and do things. So if you have a home for everything and you constantly like putting things away, then you have more time.
Right. I would say another thing that I've become addicted to is the file folding as well. Like, I mean, it's so tempting to just like take your socks and throw it in a drawer, but then you open the drawer, everything looks so pretty, and you're like, I don't want to throw random stuff in there because it's going to look like it looks so nice now. Why would I just want to like toss stuff on top of that, So like file folding is just a habit now at this point because it looks so good when it's file folded, and then I don't have that temptation anymore to just like toss my socks in there anymore because I'm like, dang, I got to keep it looking good,
Yeah. Okay, Renata has a really good question, and this is all you, Xiomara. She says, how do you involve your teenagers in the practice of organizing?
Oof. And you should talk about your kids. You have teenagers as well, so.
So once again, like the best tip is you want to lead by example. A lot of times when I'm working with certain clients, they want to start with the kids' rooms first. For example, well, I need my kid to make the bed every day, but you don't make the bed every day. And then the kids say, okay, so you want me to make the bed every day, but especially teenagers, they already think they're adults, right? They're always going to be like, but you're not doing it, and that's the best advice I can give. It depends on how old they are. It's good to get them taxed, but I will start them younger, and then they kind of like grow with that. I work a lot with teenagers, and I usually like to work with them, and the parents can be there because a lot of times there's a lot of frustrations involved, with the teenagers that they express that in their environment.
I guess another one would be also don't do it for them.
No.
Get them involved in doing it so that way they have the input in, they can put their inputs in on how they would like to see it and try to help them achieve that. Don't just try to say, hey, do this way and that's it. It's their stuff also. Give them a little opinion in it. Let them, maybe they want to see it this certain way and not the other, stuff like that. That would
buy-in there, really. I mean, you're creating buy-in, so they have they're part of the solution at that point.
Yes.
Yeah, that's smart. That's smart.
Okay, so RV Wannabe asks, are there any items you purchased specifically that you're, for the Airstream that you've determined that you didn't need and were able to purge, or what items have multi-purpose? So do y'all have any that you bought that you ended up getting rid of?
Well, we do that constantly because we practice minimalism. I don't feel like we're quite there yet. But let's say I bought something for the bathroom thinking, okay, I love it and whatever. And 4, 5, 6 months down the road, especially if it only cost me $20 or less, and I found something that works better, I would totally donate it.
So you're always going to run into that. You'll have something and it might be working great for months, maybe even a year. And then you'll find something else and be like, this one actually works a little bit better or have a little bit better aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
The way it looks and stuff like that. So you'll try that one out and turns out, okay, that one did work out better. It's okay.
Well, like a good example, there's 100 things that Daniel's like obsessed with.
Efficiency.
Trying RV things and then like donating them and getting something new. But like the snap pads are a really good example of that.
It's a good example.
What are those like little yellow things that stack up called?
Yeah, they're like RV Legos basically, but I mean I don't really
They're
need
like
them anymore.
stabilizers.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a good example. The same thing goes for hoses. I think I'm on my like third hose setup. Started with some hoses, got some leaks, and then you kind of like evolve. So yeah, and then we started with a crock pot, which we never used.
Well, an Instapot. To be more specific.
Yeah, Instapot. Yeah, some people love their Instapot. We carried ours for 3 months and never used it, and we were like, man, that thing's got to go because I mean, it's not a once every 6 months kind of thing in the RV. Like you better be using it often, otherwise it's got to go.
And a lot of people love them, but we just didn't use it, so we donated it to my dad.
That's true.
And like I told you before, if you do have an item that you love, well then keep it, but give yourself a due date of okay, if I don't use it by this date, and you don't have to like donate it or throw it away. Like you can give it to a family or try to sell it, like what Daniel does, and he goes and put it in marketplace.
Yeah.
I gave my toolbox to my son. I told him he can borrow it.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
Pawn it off on your kids.
Yeah. Good plan. Okay, so Xiomara, we got a question from Greta the Airstream on Instagram, and she says, we'd be curious to hear thoughts on how to best maximize the bedside wardrobes in the 28 and 30 foot models. So y'all have the wardrobes in your bed or in your Airstream, like on the sides, right?
Like the bedside.
We have the nightstands like you guys.
Okay. Have you done any of the organization with the bedside closets?
Not yet. No, the 28 where it has the 2 towers on either side.
Oh no, but we saw one, and I know that's a very tricky compartment because it's very narrow and goes deep all the way back, right? So like in a house, just because you have all that space on the back doesn't mean you have to use it all. Right? So let's say they decide to put shoes, they sell containers that are stackable that you can put in there. Right? So first I will have to see what do they keep there. Because a lot of times, just like you guys, we kind of like move things around to make it work more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because I know those towers also have like to hang closet clothes. And then in the bottom,
bar.
It has the nightstand that goes all the way back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell them they can send me a picture if they want.
Okay, perfect. I'll have her send you a picture to your Instagram at Lily's Organizing.
Yeah.
All right, cool. That sounds good. So let's talk about closet, because I feel like that was a massive upgrade that we could have never possibly envisioned without the two of your genius brains. But
I think the fact that you incorporated the curve of the Airstream, like I wouldn't even have known where to start with that, and I'm sure like not every curve is the same. I know that there are like different Airstreams with different widths and stuff, so the curve is going to vary. It was just cool getting to see 100%, to be 100% honest with you.
Well, let's start here.
Yeah.
So for people who have an Airstream and they've got a closet in their space, which there's most of them,
right?
Like if you're not going to build yourself custom shelves, if you're not there yet, what do you suggest on like how to organize it? Because we all know that you don't like that cloth organizer that I had in there originally.
The cloth shoe rack thing or whatever that was. Yeah, that was garbage.
Well, the first thing, because when we didn't have ours, we did hang the most of the clothes.
Okay.
Right? And in the bottom, you want to have clear containers. That way you can actually see what you have in there. And once again, you can put stackables. Like they have like longer, clear containers at Walmart and Target. They're not that expensive if they're starting off. And they can like stack it up because that closet also goes deep.
You also have the ones that have actual shelves or drawers you can actually pull. So you can essentially, it's like a 3-tier drawer plastic in there. So that'll fit perfectly in there. They go back pretty deep too, some of them. and it'll actually act as a drawer inside your closet. It'll fit on either side.
And the Container Store has one. It's part of the Alpha system, and a lot of times it's already kind of built. In some Container Stores, they actually allow you to park the Airstream in front of the store or in the parking lot for you to try different things and go back and forth.
If you can get into some of their parking lots here in San Diego, being a city, it took us a minute to try to maneuver around that parking lot. Had to do it early in the morning. Nobody was around, but it can be done.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes perfect
That would make
sense.
a lot of sense.
Rachel says mad props to Frank's carpentry skills in that closet. I feel like that just deserves to be read out loud because I could not possibly agree with you more, girl. Like, I was so amazed.
Yeah, and then it really just like the bins and everything. It's so
It's been
cool.
a game changer for us.
Yeah.
The back of our truck has stayed empty.
Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm
I
glad
know.
it worked out for you. It was it's not easy trying to do it first. I was trying to do that first originally on mine. It took me a lot longer, but yours came out a lot quicker.
It's probably because
I got the practice.
we had some pretty genius outside help. So that was the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Bill said he's using his. Bill used your Instant Pot tonight. That's awesome.
Nice.
Some people love their Instant Pots and some people love their air fryers as well. You know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I love the air fryer, but not for me to have one here. If you
Right.
really see the little RV kitchen.
oh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, I already remember how we wanted to.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to read this out loud just in
Okay.
case anybody
Just
who
on
is
Facebook, potentially.
rewatching this. So the question is, if you could redesign your little RV kitchen, what would you choose to have? More door cabinets or more drawers, and why?
I personally, we have the Airstream Flying Cloud 27, and ours is like a little curve in the sink,
Okay.
right? And things kind of get lost there. So I would prefer if it was like completely cut up and the sink was pushed back.
Make a straight countertop instead of one that curves and then.
Kind of like the one from the Globetrotter, but once again, the Globetrotter also sticks out. I would like to be flat back and straight with drawers.
As far as the cabinets and drawers, ours seems to be okay. The one thing I would change is right next to the stove, we have 3 cabinets. One in the middle happens to be the pull-out microwave.
Yeah.
Which is perfect. That's fine. The one underneath it is the pull-out pantry, which works great. The one on top, though, is just a door, and it's just a really deep abyss, right, with a shelf in the middle. So what I did is I created another, just like the rest of the other two, the pantry and the microwave. I created a drawer in there where I can pull out. I was deep enough that goes all the way to the back, so everything, because we can store a lot of items in there, and we literally, to get to the stuff in the back, you have to pull everything out to get to it and then put everything back in. So I actually created a drawer I pull out just the same way. I just wish it was created that way also with the top portion of it also, which is smaller.
Yeah.
I think for us, like, we have 3 drawers, and that's it. We overall like the way that our kitchen is designed for the most part. And I don't know if I would change much, except for the fact that we have doors over drawers.
We have drawers behind doors. That's what she's trying to say. So you have to like open the doors to pull the drawers out. That's kind of a
they do
not great. You know, like
30-foot classic problems. There's not many of them.
Exactly. So you are here. It says, does it have to be an Airstream at the Container Store, or can like any RV pull up there?
No, so I will recommend you can pull in any RV, but not all the Container Store allow this. So I will recommend calling in advance and ask them if that's okay. But that way you can kind of ask if it's the parking lot is beginning for you to go in there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but it makes it so much easier, and we see it all the time, and I recommend it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that way you can try things right there in the parking lot as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mitchell, hello. Hope you're
but
doing great too.
Probably not for first-time RVers though. Like trying to navigate.
No.
Right? Not like maybe
Don't
get
do
a
it
few.
right after you buy your rig. That's probably not the greatest idea ever.
Yeah. So like you might have the temptation. You buy your rig. You're like, let's go get it professionally organized or whatever. Not professionally, but go to a container store. Probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
Practice first. Yeah.
Okay, so Bill has a question for y'all. So
Yeah.
what made you get an Airstream, and is this your first rig?
Well, that's a good question.
This is our first rig. First RV, first any camping experience, all just went all in. The Airstream was her idea. She likes the way it looked, and so did I. She sold me on it. It was actually all her idea to move into an Airstream, to move into an RV, period.
Yeah, so what happened was we were stationed in Guam, and we have pushed down our 3,500 square foot penthouse after the second child had left the house, and then moved into a 1,200 square foot condo. We still have the youngest child living with us. And then we downsized from 11,000 pounds worth of stuff to 5,500 pounds worth of stuff. And the reason why we know the amount is because the military kind of weighs and tells you how much you have.
How much you have.
So then for the last year in Guam, we were living with the essentials. And it was so nice. So moving to San Diego, they have all these beautiful homes and stuff. But we knew this was his last duty station here. And it was actually getting very stressing me out, trying to find a place for just a few years. They was either too big or too small. And what we were
way too expensive.
Yes. And while we were at the hotel, I said, we saw an RV park. And I said, well, we can always go that route. But if we go that route, it has to be an Airstream.
I was like, what's an Airstream? What do you mean go that route, pointing at all the other RVs? I was like, I don't know about all this.
He didn't even know. And then we went around looking for C-Class and stuff like that. And then I said, okay, so now I found an Airstream dealer here. Let's go look at it. If you own an Airstream, once you go there, there's no going back.
So we took a look at a few, and we were like, okay, yeah, it'll definitely have to be this.
So we were in San Diego 3 weeks.
Not less than a month.
So when the hotel got a place, and then I still didn't feel comfortable in the place. I said, let's just buy it. And we moved here June 1st and bought it in July 15th, 45 days.
Man.
And moved in, made a bunch of mistakes, learned along the way, but we love it. I don't think we will go back to living traditional anytime soon.
Yeah, I can't imagine making mistakes as a first-time RVer. I mean, we pretty much picked it on day one. We were just like, we picked it up, and we were basically professionals. So I'm sure you guys made any mistakes at all. I don't really understand. No.
That's all part of the fun,
I know, it really
right?
is. The learning curve is like you get your butt handed to you hard.
It was a lot of other people are there to help you too. So that's another great thing that you make mistakes, but the community is always there. Airstream or not, they're always there to help you out.
Yeah, agreed on that front, because campers are basically like the nicest people on the entire planet.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately, like the first time we had to back up into a campground, I didn't even do it. Somebody parked it for me. That's awesome.
I was very thankful for that too.
Yeah,
because we thought we might be there all night.
Wow.
Yeah,
and not like sleeping, like just trying to back in the camper.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I gave that guy the keys to the truck, I didn't even care at that point if he just stole it. I was so like upset with myself for not being able to back it up. I'm like, I don't care. Just take the key, like back it up, steal it. I'm done with it. Like, I was like, I can't do this. It's so hard backing up the Airstream. And you get after a while you get used to it and it's not that hard. But when you're first starting out, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get nervous, get scared, it gets tricky. It takes you like 17 tries and everybody's looking at you like newbies.
Right.
Oh, this is funny. So Bill says that he's found meeting great people, taking them out to dinner, and then getting to see their Airstream will get Airstream in their spouse's blood.
Oh,
so
what's the backstory here? You gotta
so when we were in
Utah.
Utah, the video that came out today, Bill actually reached out and we got to go to dinner with him and his wife Olivia, and they came over to check out the Airstream right afterwards. And so now Olivia is pretty hardcore on the Airstream train.
Yeah. And Bill's a relatively tall gentleman. So when people tell me, they're like, I don't know, I'm kind of tall. I'm like, no. Like, my friend Bill, he's tall. So.
And he has been in our Airstream and fit.
That's right. Standing straight up. No, standing straight up. Bill, I believe you were standing straight up, right? I'm almost positive. Yeah, which is impressive. So.
Real stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to organizing, because we have already been hanging out for about an hour and 15 minutes. Xiomara, tell me, if you were going to give organizing advice, like high level, like one thing everybody should know, what would that one thing be?
If something is bothering you in your house and stressing you out, tip number one is take a picture. Right? Take a picture instead of like actually going there and buying containers because you want to get organized and wasting your time. Take a picture and analyze the picture and see what is it that's bothering you about it, right? Organizing is not a destination. It's a practice. It's like working out. Nothing is going to work. Nothing is a magic pill. You actually got to be willing to change some habits.
Right.
Fair enough.
And Frank, I knew we were breaking up a little bit earlier, but what does CeCe think of your plan to grow a mullet? Have you shared this information with her, this news? Does she know about this? Are you doing it on the low key? Like, because Lauren loves it, let me tell you. Like, she's a huge fan.
Well, let me do the mullet thing. Although she has agreed to let me go full out Tarzan. Just let everything grow for at least a year. I get a year grace after I retire. Not
wow.
To get a haircut or shave.
I mean, I feel like you've earned that. Yeah. 30 years in the military?
No.
21.
21 years in the military? You earned that.
Yeah, I'll retire at 22. I'm at 21 and a half now.
Man.
That's so exciting. I think that you're going to look great with Tarzan here, Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like between you and your kids, like you've got like every branch of the military covered, right? Like
let's see, the oldest was Marine, now is the National Guard, and then the other two are Air Force.
Nice. That's awesome.
Navy, yeah.
Well, we definitely appreciate you guys' service. And honestly, Xiomara, Frank, your business with Lilly's organizing really made a huge difference for us. And we can't wait to see the difference that you guys are going to make when y'all hit the road in the near future and start organizing people's homes and Airstreams and RVs all over the country, because that's going to be epic. So tell everybody one more time before we sign off here, where can they find you?
So the website is www.lillysorganizing.com. And Instagram, Lilly's Organizing, Facebook, Lilly's Organizing, and YouTube also. We haven't put too much in there, but it will be coming.
So I feel like you guys definitely...
Lilly for Lilly's.
Okay.
Yes.
You guys are definitely going to have to film all these like RV makeovers, because that is in itself its own HGTV show, for sure. For sure. Whether Class A, Class B, Class C, Class everything. Like, it'll be so cool to see you reorganize all these. I mean, I know we'll be tuning in.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we know we'll be seeing you guys on the road soon. And like Xiomara said, if y'all have questions for them, reach out to them. She is awesome about responding on Instagram and via email and all that good stuff. So until next time, thank you guys so much for joining us this afternoon or this evening, and we'll see y'all next time.
All right.
Bye. Bye.